Welcome to the Tax Awareness Show. My name is Shilpa Mutiva. I'm your host. And today we're talking everything to do with empowering SMEs through tailored funding solutions. And I'm not alone in the studio. I'm with Maseke Maleka from Business Partners, she's an investment manager there. Good morning and welcome to the Tax Awareness Show. Thank you so much for honoring our invitations. We're talking everything to do with empowering SMEs through tailored funding solutions. You know what? As someone that is in the SME sector or running as an SME business, enterprise for that matter, I know the importance of having access to funding.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Maybe take us through who is Business Partners.
Okay, so Business Partners is how I would like to think of it as a partner to entrepreneurs. We provide funding for various SMEs. We provide our funding across the country. We've got 19 branches nationwide. And we also have branches in select African countries. We've got branches in Kenya, Namibia, Uganda, just to name a few. So our mission really is to empower entrepreneurs so that they can build sustainable businesses and also contribute to the broader economic society in terms of job creation and sustainable development. So in a nutshell, that's who we are.
Yes. No. But thank you so much for that. Maybe before we even discuss further, what inspired you to actually join Business Partners? But also, in your division, I know that you specialize as an investment manager. You specialize with short-term financing. But tell me, what inspired to join Business Partners, particularly also the division that you operate in?
So I have a banking background. So I've been in the banking sector, or the finance sector, for over 12 years. And what inspired me to join Business Partners is the impact. So what we've seen live, when you see a business start from an idea, just an idea, and you see it develop into a business that generates revenues, that creates jobs, that impact, when you see the real life impact, you see that the business started with 10 employees, and when you go visit the entrepreneur again, they've got 25 employees. That type of impact is what inspired me to join.
Speaking of an impact, you are in a short-term finance division, right?
We do have short-term finance.
How do you see the impact that short-term finance, maybe even before you speaking about the impact, what is this short-term finance product that you're talking about?
So the short-term finance product is something that when I joined Business Partners, I engaged a lot with our leadership team, as well as entrepreneurs that we have in our portfolio. And what I realized, or what I was, when in terms of the engagements, we realized that there was a gap in the market for entrepreneurs that are looking for something that's fast, something that can, for example, if an entrepreneur has a contract and they need that upfront capital, and they need it very fast with very minimal documentation, we can assist in that. So when we identified that gap in the market, that is what inspired this product. We've been around for over 44 years. So all of those engagements with entrepreneurs, we are able to identify what works and what doesn't work, and also if there's a gap in what entrepreneurs really need. So coming from a traditional banking background, I know that sometimes banks can be a little bit conservative. Also, the funding can be a little bit longer term, and it doesn't meet the short-term needs. For example, if your debtors are not paying on time, or if maybe your business is cyclical. I once encountered a business, it's an ice cream shop. And
Ice cream.
I love ice cream. Me too. Me too. So with the ice cream shop, you know that it's cyclical. So there are seasons where it makes money in the hotter summer days, and then in times like now, where it's winter, there's a little bit of a slow turnaround. So this product actually aims to bridge that gap between when your business is at peak season and when it's actually on a downturn. So you bridge that gap in order to manage growth and cash flows.
You actually just alluded to some of the business needs that this short-term finance will typically. Maybe take me through more broader. what is this product actually tailored for? Like, what type of business needs would you say that this product is best suited for?
So the business needs are needs that are short-term in nature. So, for example, if an entrepreneur wants to maybe buy additional stock because of an increase in demand. We actually had a client that we approved a short-term finance for, where he's got a business that is cosmetic products. I think the ladies will love that. It's cosmetic products. So they are online. They have an online platform, and they've got retail stores in South Africa and in Lesotho. So what happened with that particular entrepreneur is that they started seeing an increase in demand for their products.
Oh, which is good,
which
by the
is
way.
Great. So the increase came from the online platform. They're on Takealot. So the increase came from there. And also one of their retail stores at the same time decided that they're going to increase their orders because demand was increasing.
Oh, wow.
So it's not a bad problem to have.
It's a nice problem to have.
It's a nice problem to have. But unfortunately, the entrepreneur didn't have enough cash reserves in the business to increase production of the products. And when they went to the traditional banks, unfortunately, they couldn't find something that was suitable. So then they approached business partners, and we assisted with the short-term capital. It was 750,000 Rand, which is our maximum. So we assisted with that. And what that helped the business do is they were able, because they had 30 days to provide
and to meet the orders.
So we needed to work really fast to make sure that we can give them the money and still provide them with enough time to increase production, because they still needed to produce the products and then meet the order. And I'm happy to say that our financing helped. They created an additional 9 jobs.
Oh, wow.
And the business continues to grow to this day. So that is typically the type of need that this product would cater for.
That's amazing. I mean, I like the fact that you guys, by providing this funding, right, it had broader impact, which is obviously these guys were able to turn the order into sales. That is number one. Number two, there's job creations that you guys were able to unlock, 9 jobs, but equally so, that 9 jobs, probably it can be there are other buy jobs that can be created as a result of that.
Absolutely.
But equally so, there are 9 families that are actually going to be supported, because had these guys probably not even met this target, perhaps maybe some of these guys would have been retrenched, or the business survival will not have actually been protected and preserved, which is amazing. And this is exactly what you're talking about, the impact and the empowering of the SMEs, which you guys are doing amazingly well. But tell me, someone could be sitting there and say, listen, you know what? Do I even qualify? I'm stressed. I've got this order, or for that matter, I've got a huge debtors book that is growing, meaning that, sometimes in business, what we've learned, as much as there's a call for customers to be paid, or rather service providers to be paid on time within 14 days or within 30 days, as quick as possible. But we know that in business, the practicality of things is that sometimes customers pays these SMEs way late, and as a result, guys end up struggling. And this is why this product, from what I'm hearing, this is why this product is actually good. But equally so, someone has to qualify.
Yes.
Someone has to qualify for them to come and approach business partners and say, listen, I've got this order, or I need to actually bring in cash so that I can move forward. Who really qualifies for this product? Can anyone just rock up and say, Maseke, please help me, or Shili Boy, let me call Shili Boy quickly. Shili Boy, please help me, introduce me to business partners. I need funding. Who really qualifies for this product?
So businesses that have been trading for 2 years or more qualify. So we need, we actually look for businesses that have a good track record, also good compliance. So tax compliance is very important.
Okay.
It is one of the requirements for this particular product. And I think most lenders would also ask, because we need to see that you're good in terms of your taxes. Your financial record keeping must be in order, because what usually happens is that if you're not compliant in terms of tax and your financial record keeping is inaccurate, or maybe it's not up to date, it delays the application, and then you've got this massive order that you need to fulfill. It leads to frustration because you're not getting the assistance because your affairs are not in order, your documentation is not compliant. So compliance is very necessary, and so then we start assessing from there. So your financial records, we look at your cash flow projections, and the business must be trading. So that's the one of the few criteria. It must be trading for 2 years. So we're looking for businesses that are sort of in the growth space and are looking to expand.
And you mentioned issues of compliance, and that's very important. And that's from governance point of view, one needs to be running business properly.
100%.
And I think I want to stress that a lot. In my experience, I've observed that some of the SMEs, actually the governance, there's a leakages around the governance, meaning that they're not compliant with SARS, be it for different types of taxes, be it pay as you earn, income tax, VAT. You find that you're not submitting VAT returns. And by the time where you are lucky and you've got an order, and you find that you're going to business partners, Maseke, please help me. You may find that you're frustrated because as much as business partners may want to assist you, but they've got policies and procedures in place that they need to adhere to.
Yes.
And I understand that is correct. And as a result, you find that then you come to Shilibo and say, Shilibo, please help me to comply with SARS quickly. But I'm like, listen, I don't have capacity to now submit tax returns in a space of a week, or do financial statement in a space of a week for you to be able to be compliant. So I think less stress enough to say your financial statements must be up to date. Make sure that your tax returns, don't only do them when you want funding, but rather do them because it's the right thing to do. It's the right governance. You'll be able to understand your business better, and you also save on penalties, because the reality is that as much as you may not be compliant, if you don't not compliant, you'll actually be incurring tax penalties and interest, which can eat in your margins, which is quite unnecessarily. Maybe I know this may sound more rigorous or more checklist, but someone could be sitting there and say, but what are the documents that one needs to have before I approach Maseke? Maybe just list those basic documents that you know that these are pre-requirements that one needs to have before they actually approaches you.
Okay, so the documents are your tax clearance certificate. That's number
Correct.
one.
Yeah.
Number 2 is 3 years annual financial statements,
Okay.
2 to 3 years audited financial statements, your profit and loss statements, bank statements. So we start there, and then we can build. So the short-term product is nice in the sense that we don't require a heavy load of documents, and the due diligence process is streamlined. So it's very specific in terms of what we require, which makes it simpler for us. And if all those documents are in order, it makes it a seamless process, and perhaps it puts us in a place to be able to make quicker decisions.
So by the sound of it is that if your financial division, your tax and financial statement bookkeeping, it's super clean, the probability is that you can easily get funding from business partner. Of course, there are other requirements that you
100%.
might have to meet, but the starting point is that get your house in order when it comes to compliance with SARS, get your house in order when it comes to compliance with financial statements. Therefore, you stand a chance that should you get that order and you need funding quickly, then a business partner could potentially be able to assist you.
Absolutely.
Okay, maybe take me through this whole process of applications. How can one do the application? I think that's a very important thing. Before I actually even go into the terms and the flexibility or the amounts. Earlier on, you mentioned about the amounts. Before we go in there, how easy and what should a person be doing other than reaching out to Shilly Boy? I mean, of course, guys, you're more than welcome to reach out to me if you want me to introduce you to business partners. You can WhatsApp me on 074-589-6439, or for that matter, you can email me at shillyboy@thetexawareness.co.za. shillyboy@thetexawareness.co.za. You can email me there, or you can WhatsApp me, as I mentioned, 074-589-6439. And then I'll more than happy to, actually, before you even go to business partners, I'll probably just say, listen, here are the documents that you need. Please give us this document before we introduce you to business partners. And I'm more than happy to literally introduce to Maseke and her colleagues at business partners. Earlier on, I asked about the application processes. Maybe take us through the simplicity of that. What should a person do other than reaching out to Shilly Boy?
Well, other than reaching out to Shilly Boy, I think they should reach out to you so that we can make sure the documents are in order.
Yeah, save you a lot of admin.
Before they submit to us. But we do have an online platform where they can go onto our website and actually apply online. And those applications will come through to us. But I do recommend that they reach out to you first. Then you can.
So you are pushing that need to me. But look, I'm more than happy to actually help, because that is not a lot.
Yes.
It's just to make sure that you comply, because I can easily help you make sure that you comply with SARS, make sure that your financials are correct and they're also properly prepared, because we know that some people sometimes financial statements, when you look at them, there's not even a cost of sales in the income statement. Yeah. But I know that you're doing the right thing out there, and you can reach out to business partners, you can do applications online, and for that matter also you can reach out to me and then I'll help you with that. Maybe let's talk about the structure of this funding. Earlier when you mentioned the maximum of 750,000, if I'm not mistaken. What are typical terms and the flexibility around these short-term finance products? So
this product is actually something that I'm really excited about. And that's because the way we structure it, so the minimum is 250,000 and we go up to 750,000 Rand. But the way we structure it makes us unique in this space, because for the first 6 months, our entrepreneurs pay interest only.
Okay.
So we structure it over a period of 18 months. So for the first 6 months, they pay interest only, which eases the financial pressure for certain businesses, because you're servicing the interest for 6 months, and from month 7 to month 18, then you pay the interest and capital portion. So that's what makes it unique in that sense. So it's flexible like that. And like I mentioned earlier, we don't require rigorous documentation. We do a streamlined due diligence process. And that makes it easier for us to pay out and faster to make decisions. And I think the last thing that makes this product so unique is that when we do due diligence, there's no one size fits all. So we structure the risk according to the entrepreneur. Exactly. So we look at the entrepreneur, we look at the business, we look at the industry, and then the cost of the finance can be determined when we look at all of those things together. So that's what makes it unique.
But just take me back. What inspired this creation of this short-term finance?
So we understand entrepreneurs, having been around for very long. Most of the entrepreneurs that we've engaged with, they don't find success with the traditional banks. They don't find success when they approach the normal DFIs. Sometimes it takes longer. They don't even get feedback. 6 months later, they're still waiting. And that can really, really cause damage in terms of businesses' ability to keep going.
Speaking of traditional way of doing things, how is this short-term finance actually differs to the typical business loans? So
it's short-term in its nature. So we structure up to 18 months, whereas traditional loans are more of a longer term, anything from 3 years to 10 years, depending on the type of finance you are applying for. So this one is really, really for those short-term cash constraints when the business urgently needs capital, like when the demand increases, or there's a new contract. We have a client that had a new contract that needed to be serviced, and they went to a bank also, and unfortunately it was taking too long. It's not that they were not successful, it was just taking too long. And they needed to service, they just needed a little bit of funds, a little small capital injection, 500,000 to kickstart the project. And then they were going to be able to service the contract going forward.
You narrated this case of this entrepreneur that was looking for quick funding to service and needed 500,000. Yeah. But that is a challenge. That's typically the challenge, access to funding, because they needed to service whatever the product is. Yes. What have been some of common challenges that you say typically these SMEs are encountering as a result of them wanting this short-term finance product?
So sometimes there are unexpected costs or expenses in the business. Maybe in the manufacturing plant, the machines break down. But there's we don't have enough cash in the business to do the repairs and keep the production going. So this type of product can help with that. So it's unforeseen expenses. If maybe your debtors book is growing, customers are taking long to pay. I think you alluded to that a little bit earlier. They're taking long to pay, and you really need to buy inventory so that you can keep going. So if you need to buy additional stock, that's what this product will help in terms of bridge that gap as well. And seasonality. Some businesses do well in certain periods, other businesses do not so well in other periods. And even the healthiest of businesses use this type of finance, short-term finance, to bridge that, to manage growth in the business and also bridge that cash flow gap so that they can keep going. So typically those are some of the examples.
Speaking of these opportunities, because to me, having access to short-term finance, it come across as an opportunity. Yes. But then that also comes with misconceptions among SMEs with regard to the short-term finance. Having engaged SMEs for some time as an investment manager, what are some common, most common misconceptions that SMEs have with short-term finance?
So this one is a very interesting question because some entrepreneurs or SMEs find that they don't need debt to in their business. They can just bootstrap and carry on. Well, that's a very big misconception because debt can help grow a business, but it has to be managed well because if you don't borrow exactly what you need, not more, not less. So if you, like that client, they qualified for 750,000 Rand, but we only gave them 500,000 Rand because they knew that they needed to use it strategically in order to manage the new contract and to grow the business. So the misconception that debt is not required, if used well, it can help plan strategically for the business. Another misconception is that all credit providers are the same. All lenders are the same. They are all sharks. And that's not true because it comes with knowledge and actually doing research to see what is out there and what benefits the business. There are certain lenders that there are certain products out there that may not be as sufficient as the product from business partners. So it's about research. So not all lenders are the same. So research is very, very important.
It's very, very important.
Another misconception is that debt is expensive or short-term finance is expensive in its nature. While that might be true, the reality is that you have to be able to understand your business and your business needs so that when you do decide to take up finance, you make sure that it is the right product for that specific need. So those are some of the.
So meaning that it could actually be expensive if you take a wrong product for a wrong needs, rather.
Yes, the mismatch.
The mismatch. That's what expensive. Makes the finance expensive because you find that you actually but I'm sure that's what you travel the journey with these SME owners to say, listen, we don't think this product is ideal for these needs. Perhaps look into these alternatives.
Yes. So I've encountered entrepreneurs that would like to buy yellow equipment with short-term finance. That's a mismatch because it won't meet. Because it's short-term in its nature and you're buying an asset. Rather use a finance product that is geared towards financing an asset. It will give you a better chance of making sure that you don't stretch yourself for something that is mismatched. So the expense comes from the mismatch and misuse of those specific funds. But otherwise, if you do the research, you'll find that they are very competitive products like our short-term finance. And then you can use that to bridge certain gaps.
Speaking of doing research, I mean, what would you give to SMEs who are cautious about approaching the likes of business partners or in other financial institutions to access financial products? What advice there are people who are cautious, like you said, there's a misconception around we don't need debts in our balance, in our books, but then they try to grow their business with reinvesting the equities and it actually limits the growth. That's already an advice. It limits the growth of the business. The more you use other people's money, it can actually allows you to scale up and grow your business. But what advice would you give to that person who's more cautious about having or rather accessing financial products?
So just to take from what you were saying, fear of borrowing can lead entrepreneurs to miss opportunities. So in order to make sure that you don't overstretch yourself in terms of borrowing, you need to do research, educate yourself. I can't stress this enough because I've seen instances where entrepreneurs don't really understand what it is that they need. So do your research and understand what the business needs. So what are you borrowing for? Okay, I'm borrowing because my debtors are taking too long to pay. I need to bridge that gap. Understand how much it is that you need exactly. Don't wait for me to tell you how much you need. So you need to understand, okay, my business needs 750,000 Rand in order for me to service this contract. And then understand how long you want the finance for. If you want a facility that is 5 years, short-term finance is not the solution. But if you need something for the next 18 months, then we can look at short-term finance. So understand and also make sure that you deal with institutions that meet your business needs. So that's the education that I spoke about. Understanding and empowering yourself with knowledge will help in terms of strategic planning and decision making. Yeah.
I cannot, maybe in closing, stress enough about the importance of tax compliance
100%.
in accessing funding. Maybe take us through some of the scenarios where you found that people were not able to get funding as a result of non-compliance with SARS.
So we see a lot of this where we look through financial statements and the business is doing well.
Wow.
The business is growing year on year. They are good, healthy profits, but they don't pay tax.
What has been you probably engaged these people, and what are the main reasons of them not paying SARS, their dues, their application? Because it's the law. You've got tax legislation that you need to comply with. As SMEs, you need to pay SARS for different types of taxes that you could be liable for. What are some common reasons why these people are not complying?
I think it's the disconnect between entrepreneurs and perhaps maybe their accountants, because the books don't tell a full story of what the business is doing. Sometimes entrepreneurs don't even know what their financials look like. I've had instances where the entrepreneur sends the financials and you ask, but there's no tax on the financials, and they don't even know. So it's about also, yes, you might have a specialist such as yourself that helps with the financials, but you must also understand what is happening in the business, what is happening in your financials, so that when I call you as Maseke and I call you and I'm asking you certain things, you can easily tell me, oh, no, we actually did this and that. Or maybe they omitted it and it's actually supposed to be X amount. So just knowledge and familiarizing and awareness. Tax awareness. And just being sort of knowledgeable about what's happening in the financials of the business. I think that's maybe a key
with
thing.
That, this person not being compliant, and you guys end up not funding them.
Unfortunately not. They have to be tax compliant. It's one of our requirements because it shows that you're trustworthy as an entrepreneur. It builds credibility if you are compliant. So if you are not compliant, what does that say? The credibility is not there. The trustworthiness is not there. So it is we cannot stress that enough.
So basically what I'm hearing from Maseke is that for you to have easy access to funding, you must be trustworthy. And one way of testing that trustworthiness is through compliance with SARS for different types of taxes that you could be liable for, be it pay as you earn, be it income tax, be it value added tax, as for example, right? And then another form of building credibility or trustworthiness could be to ensure that you are actually compliant in terms of financial statements. You are compliant with regulatory requirements when it comes to preparations of financial statement. But again, maybe perhaps also the trustworthiness is the credit profile or credit record of the directors. If you've got court judgment and you've been blacklisted, then it makes a business partner to doubt if you are trustworthy and will you be able to repay them if you're actually non-compliant with this. So compliance environment, also lack of record keeping, by the way.
Yes.
And you find that you don't have certain records. We ask for certain records. Maseke asks you for certain records. You don't have them. You don't even have you don't demonstrate understanding of your documents also. That makes you guys question the trustworthiness, and that's the vetting that you perhaps maybe do.
Yes, so we do vet. With every application, we go through a thorough due diligence process. We even go out to see you. Even if it's a short-term finance, we go out to see you. We want to see operations. We want to make sure that what we represent to our different committees is an accurate representation of the company. So it is important for us to have all of the documents in order. It's important for us to meet with you, understand what it is that you're doing. We also want to see that you also understand what you're doing and how much you need and what you need it for. It makes it easier for us to move forward with your application. It makes it very seamless and reduces frustration and delays and even rejection.
Okay. Yeah. So if you don't want to be rejected when you're approaching business partners and you know that you're in need of that funding, I would suggest that get your house in order right now from today. Start running your business in a more sustainable manner. Make sure that you're compliant. Make sure that you understand your books. Make sure that you sit with experts who are within your business, and so that you are prepared should it happens that you need funding and you need quick money, because then what it will do, it will shorten the process of actually getting funding from business partners, and you don't get frustrated. And then as a result, then you end up being able to meet those needs in your business, be it for cash flow purposes, be it for that quick working capital needs that you may want to inject some form of capital in your business. So guys, let's get our house in order. That's the reason for this show. But I want to leave Maseke. You guys know already that Maseke, here people sing or they donate. So we've got an NGO called Tax Education South Africa. So the NGO primarily what it does, it hosts career days, right? Career days in high schools, in the main previously disadvantaged schools. So we bring awareness into the field of tax as a career, to say there are various types of careers that you can explore as someone who wants to specialize in tech. So we do that.
Amazing.
And then we also host career expos. Our career expos is linked up with our conference around the Tax Awareness Conference. So now we normally put our guests on the spot to say, please donate for a school shoes rather, for our previously disadvantaged. Also, we require that you sing. So
I thought it was going to be a choice between the
two. So yeah, you sing to our audience to lighten up the mood.
Oh my goodness!
That 10 seconds of your favorite song, and then we close the show.
Oh wow! Sure, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yes, apparently we're told that you're a good singer. By the way,
I am a horrible singer. I don't even think I can. I think your viewers might turn off.
Let's go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Waymaker, spiritual healer, promise maker, 1. Oh my gosh, no, please don't embarrass me.
Okay, Maseke tried her best, guys. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was great to have you, and we appreciate you coming through. And we look forward to seeing you guys more and sharing insightful and impactful opportunities that business partners have.
Thank you very much for having me. I look forward to it as well.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Shilpa Mutiva. I'm your host of the Tax Awareness Show. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. Should you need to be in touch with business partners, you can WhatsApp me. You can email me at shiliboy@thetaxawareness.co.za or rather shiliboy@thetaxawareness.co.za. I think that's a correct one, right? And then WhatsApp me on 074 589 6439. Thank you so much for watching and have a great one.